I can't really blame that. I'm going to anyway. This is the Porsche Cayenne GTS, the 2021 model year. First, I'm going to answer the questions.
I want the questions.
Oh, I did not send the questions to Brett. So how am I going to do this? I don't know. I didn't send the questions to Brett. I'm going to try to remember the ones that were asked, and I apologize. Didn't send the questions to Brett, who's of course manning the camera. That's my mistake, guys. So first answering the ones on Instagram, and that I posed the question yesterday night, really late, sorry. And then the ones from YouTube's community page. Apologies again that I'm probably not going to give you credit for your questions. I'm just going to try to remember the ones that were asked. And then I will get to you folks who are tuned in live. Thank you so much for joining. And there is also a new MPH member. Again, I cannot remember. I apologize, but I will give you credit next video. Yes, I just did not jot your name down. But thank you guys for your support on YouTube's memberships. Let's get into the Porsche Cayenne GTS. And the first question I think that was asked was, well, I remember Blake's question about kind of what does the Cayenne GTS compete against? And that's an excellent question because it sort of slots in. Price point, it's $108,000 to start. This one has tested as like almost $130,000 because it's loaded with a number of options. But it competes in power and price sort of with the BMW X5 M50i. It's still even a little more expensive than a vehicle like that. And the Mercedes-AMG GLE 53, not the 63, not the 43, the 53, because the Cayenne GTS makes 453 horsepower, which is less than something like a BMW X5M. It's even a little less than the BMW X5 M50i that it kind of competes against. And what's up, golf cart bros? And it's a little more than the Mercedes-AMG GLE 53. So it's a weird territory, and the GTS is really a driver's focused SUV. I would argue, I mean, the Lamborghini Urus is just as driver's focused and perhaps even more so, almost in a frenetic way. But I would argue, like as a from concept to delivery vehicle that's focused on the driver, as an SUV, it's the Cayenne GTS. So even more so, I would say, than the X5 M50i and the Mercedes-AMG GLE 53. So, but those are price-wise and power-wise kind of its direct competitors. So yes, of course, and Brett doesn't have any more questions. So that was Blake's question. Someone else asked, how much horsepower does it make? So I already listed that. 453 horsepower, 457 pound-feet of torque from a 4-liter twin-turbo V8. And I'll show you that. And then we'll start it up and give you some exhaust. And Luca asked, would it be better with a V8? And it does have a V8. So yes, it is better because the Cayenne S has a twin-turbo V6. The Cayenne Turbo has a V8. This has the V8 that has been detuned, so the PSI was decreased from like 18.8 PSI to 11.6 in the GTS. That's why it doesn't make as much power as the Turbo. The Turbo makes 541 horsepower. This at 453, less power, but you get that V8. You get the refinement of a V8, but also the soundtrack of V8 that I'll play for you. So I know Luca asked that question about whether it'd be better with a V8, and it does have a V8, and it is better, let me tell you, than a Cayenne S. Price, $20,000 more than a Cayenne S, but $20,000 cheaper than the Turbo. So it really is middle ground in those, and like I said, very much focused on the driver. So let's start it up. I'll let you hear it. Because even if that wasn't a question, it's going to be a question.
It's always a question.
Always a question. Brett wants to know. Sounds nice. Soft limited at 4,000 RPM, so I can't go any more towards redline than this. But it's beady, right? That's what you get with a V8.
Really good.
Yeah, it sounds good. That's what you get with the V8, man.
Out of a 4-liter too. That's not even that big.
It's not that big, but I mean, like, there are so many of these performance SUVs that are using 4 liters because they've got twin turbos, and so that's how they make their additional power.
Oh, the plate fell off.
Oh no, I'll fix that. But
that sounds really good.
yeah, it sounds meaty. So that's the exhaust note, and you also get these pretty interesting, like, the exhaust pipes aren't just like regular, you know, uniform pipes. They've got some nice detailing to them. That's not gonna stand. That's fine. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. It's a Florida car. Anyway, so that's the exhaust. Whatever the power, 0 to 60 time for the Cayenne GTS is quoted at 4.2 seconds if you get the Sport Chrono Package, which means that you get this cool little lap timer up on the dashboard. You also get the Sport or your drive mode dial here on the steering wheel, and you get launch control. So that's what you get with Sport Chrono's package. It's the Sport Chrono Package for like $1,300. Trying to think what other questions were asked that I can remember off the top of my head. I'm just trying to think who asked questions. I know Jose asked a question. I know, boy, who else asked a question? I said Luca. Blake asked a couple questions. Hi guys, I apologize so much that I didn't send Brett the questions, and I can't send them to him now because that would end the live video. So let's just get into the folks who are here on YouTube and answer their questions, and maybe something will be repeated that was asked.
Christopher Galen asked us if this one is stock.
This is completely stock. 99.9% of the vehicles that I drive are stock vehicles. Occasionally I'll get like a tuner vehicle, but those they're stocked by the tuner. So it's like be like a Hennessy or a Roush, and it's stock, but it's a tuner stock. But yeah, it's completely stock. It sounds good.
Yadnish Boaskar wants to know what's the wheel size.
Wheel size, so, well, they're 21-inch wheels, and they're 2 85 section front tires, 3 15 section rear Pirelli P0s. But these are the factory, these are the standard wheels you'll get with the GTS. You can upsize them to like 22-inch wheels, but I really like the 21s with this black gloss treatment. Again, all stock, all standard. You don't have to pay extra for that. And the red painted brake calipers look good with the Carmine Red paint job. You have to pay extra for the paint job. It's $31.50. I'm going to do a review of this one though, so I won't go too crazy with it.
Paul asked, how much is the weight difference from the basic model?
I do know that the GTS weighs about 200 pounds more than the standard Cayenne, so that's the answer to your question. I do know that.
Christopher Galen asks, what do you think is better, the Cayenne or the Cayenne Coupe?
Yeah, so I have a review of the Cayenne Coupe. Let's show the profile. I like how it sits. I would still go with the standard Cayenne. The Cayenne Coupe is probably the best looking of the coupe design SUVs, but I still would take the practicality of a standard SUV when the Cayenne looks so good like this. The Cayenne Coupe looks great, but I think it looks just as good as a standard SUV, and therefore you get the additional practicality. And it's like $3,000 cheaper for the regular Cayenne versus the Cayenne Coupe. I think you get a couple extra standard equipment pieces. Dude, nice wheels. Did you just throw those on?
Those are my dad's old ones.
Oh, I love them.
He just got bronze methods.
Oh, nice.
So.
I just noticed Brett has a Ram 1500, and I like the wheels that he threw on his truck. Sorry. Yeah, so the front end super clean. Doesn't really deviate from the Cayenne S, except that you get these black gloss pieces here in the front. Oh, sorry. Any other questions? What questions do we have? I'm just gonna start doing my rant.
Is there air suspension?
There is not air suspension. There is adaptive suspension, but I don't believe there's air suspension.
It wasn't tucked so well I'd be able to see, but
yeah, no,
it sits really well.
Yeah, I do not believe there's air suspension on the GTS. There's just adaptive dampers, but the ride quality is really good.
Horsepower.
Horsepower, 453 horsepower. So I'm just watching the skaters go for it.
What is the name of the color?
The name of the color is
red.
Carmine Red. I like it. What do you think, Brett?
It's nice. It pops.
It does. It's a good color, and it's been a pretty cloudy day, and it looks deeper in the clouds, and then when the sun comes out, it looks more red. It's funny because there's a Monroney in the vehicle, and the Monroney, I didn't realize it was for the Cayenne Coupe that they also have in the press fleet, Cayenne GTS Coupe, and they called it lava orange. I was like, that's not orange, that's red. And indeed, it was the wrong Monroney. This is Carmine Red, and it matches the brake calipers nicely. I think like if it was lava orange with red brake calipers, it'd look kind of weird.
All right, everyone wants to see the interior.
Okay, so let's show the interior.
A lot of people asking for it.
Okay. All right, so as standard in the Cayenne GTS, you're gonna get these leather bordered seats with this suede insert. Looks really nice. I think Porsche calls their material like Race-Tex, their suede inserts. Whatever you want to call it, it's nice. And the seats are very comfortable. These are upgraded like 18 Powerway adjustable seats. So you will be able to find a comfortable position. You get this aluminum trim in here. You can choose carbon fiber if you want. You get a big 12-inch infotainment, touchscreen of course, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, the good stuff. And you get this suede steering wheel, which if that doesn't say sporty, I don't know what does. The only problem with suede, of course, is that in time it starts to like pill. This is still a very new car. It has 1,200 miles on it, but suede starts to pill after a while. So you wouldn't want to be the third owner of a GTS with the suede steering wheel, but for the first owners, this feels really nice. Yeah, and you get these two digital instrument clusters off to the left and right of a analog tachometer, and Porsche always has the tachometer front and center in their vehicles. Looks great. I already mentioned the Sport Chrono Package. You get this little lap time marker there. Infotainment is pretty easy to use and pretty quick to respond. You also get navigation. And the graphics they're good. You know, they're not cutting edge, but they're good. And yeah, this interior is just very comfortable.
Is there massage seats?
These are not massaging. I actually don't even know if you can option on. You can option on massaging seats. I don't believe these are the massaging seats. Let's show the rear seat space though, because it's actually pretty good. I'm just loving this idle right now. Yeah, idle stuff is so good.
That's just such a great note.
Yeah, it's just really nice. All right, so this is my driving position at 6 feet tall. I've got a lot of legroom. And the foot pockets are nice and big. I hate when they just like slam the seat on the ground and I can't fit my feet forward at all, because then the knee angle is like all pinched up. But I've got a lot of leg room. I've got headroom back here, and I think the seats recline. Yes, they do. So nope, this is as far back as they're going. So this is the reclined position, but in this position I have headroom. You got two USB-C ports down here. Some nice knurled finishes for the air vent covers. You're set back here, and the panoramic sunroof is generously sized and appreciated. You also get the suede wrapping for the headliner. That's also a standard thing for the GTS, as is the GTS imprinted on the seat backs. Center console, or yeah, armrest. You got that with cup holders. Yeah, so the interior is very, very nice. I mean, it's a $100,000 SUV, but they didn't just go all performance and no frills on the interior. This is a thorough luxury cabin in here.
Does it have ambient lighting?
It does have ambient lighting. Yeah, that's part of, this one has the comfort package, and it has ambient lighting. I don't know how many colors you can choose from. I'm pretty sure it's not as much as like the AMG vehicles, like 64 colors, but you can choose from some colors, and it does show up in the door inserts and near the footwells and stuff. You'll see that a little bit in my night drive of this when I do that.
We have some more people that want the exhaust.
Want the exhaust? I'm going to do it again, happily.
And then a few different people have asked, is it worth it for the price?
I will save that conclusion for the review, but I will say, you know, you look at it on paper and you're like, it's a very expensive SUV. You drive it, and you feel the money. come down that I really like. But as it comes down.
Mike Shaw said there's no Android Auto in Porsche.
That I misspoke. That's right. There isn't Android Auto in their infotainment systems, which is so odd because you have Android Auto in Audi vehicles, but not in Porsche. Same Volkswagen Auto Group umbrella, no Android Auto, and that's unfortunate. I mean, I'm an iPhone user, but I know many Android users, and they would be bummed by that. Good correction, Mike Shaw. Thank you. Any other questions, or should we go drive it?
I say we go drive it.
Brad says we go drive it for the boss. Let's do it.
Abdullah does have a soft limiter at 4,000 RPM.
Yeah, so that's why it's capped at like 4,000 RPM, so we can't like really string it out. I will do that. That's what the drive is for. Drive's for me to string it out just a little bit. You can hear it. So we'll just start in the quietest mode. Someone did ask a question. Speaking of the exhaust, Visionist. I don't know why I remember that. Visionist asked about whether Porsche pipes in noise into the cabin, and it's a yes and no question. So they don't create noise. So the exhaust note is the exhaust note, but they do amplify it via like a pipe that they put into the cabin. That only, he also asked, can you turn that on or off? Yes and no. If you go into sport mode, that's going to automatically be turned on, and they're going to start piping in some of that exhaust note. If you're just in standard mode, then it's not. So,
does it do a turn on and off function?
It's just tied to the drive mode. You can
That's so cool.
You can make the exhaust louder or quieter via individual button.
I was wondering if it just made it that quiet, like when you put it in just like a comfort mode.
Well, so they open up the baffles in the exhaust. So the exhaust actually gets louder, but you also, when you go into a sport mode, they amplify the noise in the cabin. So right now we are in sport mode. Let's go to, we're just kind of in standard right now as we drive out. And as we're driving, any further questions before I'm going in the wrong direction. I need to be going in the other direction.
No, you can just go.
Oh yeah, that's right. We've learned in time the right drive route and the wrong drive route.
Oh wow. Easy said put it in gear, then pull both levers, and the soft limiter goes away.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sitting at a light, so we can do that. We'll be inside now, but you have to be in gear or neutral. Let's try. I'll pull both pedals.
You said at least it's like that on the 911s.
Yeah. So if I'm in first gear, obviously I'm going to move forward, and that's not going to work. So I think if maybe into drive, no, that wouldn't work. I have to be in neutral. I would have to be in neutral for that to work. So let's try that. While I'm in neutral. Pull both paddles. No, still 4,000. That doesn't do anything. And if I go into drive, then I'm going to move forward. So I may be doing something wrong, but...
Or you just have to be in park.
Or I'm just in park. I don't know. I'm not going to put it in park right now. But that maybe when you first start it up, if you're in park and you pull both paddles and you then rev it out.
Andre says just step on the brakes. Come on, Miles.
Yeah, just step on the brakes. No, that will actually like start me into launch control. Was it a Trackhawk?
Yeah.
Nice. That's in theory one of the competitors for this vehicle.
That thing's too fast.
Yeah, I mean the Trackhawks. Yeah, it makes a lot of power. It's going to be quicker off the line for sure, but it costs less than this.
Few people want to see a launch.
We will do a launch. I may add a left turn lights.
We can.
Yeah, I will. If we can, I'll do a launch. But launch is super easy to do in Porsche vehicles. You just go to Sport Plus, put your foot hard on the brake, give it full gas, let go of the brake, and you're launching. If you have the Sport Chrono Package. So we do have the Sport Chrono Package, but you need that. Man, this is a long light. But you need that.
The audio system?
It is, you can choose. This one has the Bose sound system, I think. It's a 14-speaker Bose surround sound system, but you can choose a Bang & Olufsen system if you want to. So this is just standard. It's been quiet. Go to sport. It's a little louder. Oh, it's a lot louder. Oh, that was juicy. Oh, that was so good. That was so good. Hey, red light, we could do launch. It's going to be a short launch, but we can do launch. So here's how you do. You go to Sport Plus here in the drive selector, and then all you have to do is mount your foot hard on the brake and give it gas, but we'll just wait a sec. Oh, there we go. Put on the brake, give it gas, launch. Oh! Yeah,
that was faster than I thought.
Yeah, same. That's a meaty launch. Nice.
Wow, that thing does well.
Yeah, and that exhaust, okay, so that is amplified a bit in the cabin, but that's also just a really good exhaust system. I didn't check thoroughly on the spec sheet, but I think this has the performance exhaust extra. There's like an extra system that you can have.
Josh asked, what's your favorite car that you've ever driven?
Favorite car I've ever driven used to be the McLaren 675 LT and is now the McLaren 765 LT. That thing was just a monster. I don't understand how it's street legal. It's just so good. And it was also rough. It would be a car I would drive, you know, just on the weekends. And yeah, man, daily driver, no thanks. It was so stiff, but it was amazing to drive.
Track ready.
Yes, really. Seriously track ready. I'm trying to think what else I can tell you while we're waiting here. It's been a series of red lights as we've left. Yeah, so that's sport mode we're in. There's this button here on the drive mode selector that you can press, and you just get sport performance for like 20. It'll give you a countdown, and you just have like the sportiest exhaust or the sportiest throttle response and shift timing for a time limit. And I think it's actually really clever because it's like passing power, but you don't have to like change anything else. You just press the button and you have passing power, and then it goes away. It's cool.
Christoph asked, will you test the Maserati MC20 at some point?
Oh, absolutely. The moment that's available to test, I would love to test it. I got to see it briefly at a dealer demo at Maserati Newport Beach, and I liked how it looked. I really liked how it looked, so I was itching to drive it. Yeah, I'm really impressed with that exhaust note.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that. I feel like Porsche is a bit more subdued.
Oh, they got a demon in there.
They did? Oh,
huh.
Nice.
Let's go buy it.
Yeah, let's. Let's pool our resources and still come up way too short. Yeah, but that exhaust note is way better than I expected.
Jacob Fowler asked, how would you describe the driving experience in a 911 GT3?
So the last 911 GT3 I drove was not the 992, it was a 991. What was that? Oh, it's just a Mustang. It was sensational. Honestly, it was so good. And I got to drive that on road and on track. How would I describe it? That's a great question. It really felt like, from concept to execution, a driver's car. It wasn't making any exceptions for anything. The ride quality was firm, not punishing, but it was just so dialed in. And Porsche has just perfected the rear engine dynamics, the weight distribution, the feedback through the steering wheel. Their electronic steering rack is amazing, even in the Cayenne GTS. And yeah, I don't know. The driving experience in that GT3 was, I felt like I was meeting a hero, because the 911 has always been like up there for me as like just a brilliant driver's car. And meeting the GT3 and driving it on road and on track was meeting a hero. It was so good. I loved that car.
Josh asked, what's your favorite truck that you've ever driven?
Oh man, it's got to be the Ram T-Rex. That was such a monster. Cool. And I drove the F-150 Raptor, but the Ram T-Rex was just like that much more. I'll be excited to drive the new Raptor, but I'll be excited to drive the new Raptor R. That's going to be a more competitor for the Ram T-Rex. We'll do another launch control, of course. So Sport Plus, and we'll just wait for the light to go green.
Josh asked again, will you test the Shelby GT500?
Hang on, launch control.
Oh,
that sounds good.
That is so nice.
The Shelby GT500, I did a POV drive and a walk around in that one. I didn't have it long enough to do a review, but I did that. All right, so we'll take this corner rather quickly. Ooh, that GLE was getting on it. Just sticks.
Wow.
And then the exhaust, it's so good. Yeah, that chili is like hauling.
Yeah.
I was like, why is he not getting any closer? He's hauling.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but that felt so stable. Oh man. Yeah, that thing is
flying.
Yeah, that guy's really moving. I'm not trying to race anybody though, so just do my own thing and enjoy the GTS.
Someone asked if you're allowed to drift. Miles, are you allowed to drift?
I'm allowed to do whatever I would like to do within the reasons of the law, but I'm not going to try to drift the GTS. We'll do a couple pulls here. Yeah, and it's so responsive, and that exhaust note is so exciting.
This thing rides very smooth.
Right? We're in Sport Plus. We're in the most aggressive drive mode right now, and it's riding so smoothly.
Will you ever test a Demon?
I would love to test a Demon. I don't know anyone with the Demon, and because Dodge isn't still selling that vehicle, I can't like ask for it in their press fleet. But if you know someone who has a Demon who lives in the Southern California area, you let me know, because I would love to do a POV and a review and all that with a Demon.
Speaking of people we know,
Yeah.
I know someone with the GT5
Really?
that you might be able to drive.
That would be awesome.
And his is every package just.
Really?
Oh yeah. When he asked that question, it made me think of it. I was like, well, I should ask him about that.
That like the new GT500? Dang.
It is beauty.
I bet, yeah. No, I mean, I drove it briefly and loved it, but a review would be cool. And, I mean, even doing a second POV drive would be awesome. And then, like, I did a Canyon.
That thing sounds so good.
Yeah. Oh, the GT500 sounds amazing. I wish that they made it with a manual. That would have been
I'm
so cool.
so surprised they didn't.
Yeah.
Okay, question. Oh, apparently Josh has a Demon if you want to drive it.
Oh my gosh. Josh, where you at, dude?
Guido asks, how'd you feel driving the Ferrari 812?
I loved every minute of it.
That's a beautiful car.
It's a gorgeous car, and there's just something special about a V12 engine. They're the smoothest gas, icy internal combustion engines you can ever experience. They're so buttery, and until you actually experience a V12, you can only really imagine it, because you're like, okay, V8 plus 4 cylinders, and therefore we're dispersing the chaos of an engine across 4 more cylinders, and that getting through into the driving experience. It's silky the way the power is delivered. And yeah, that 812 with that engine is amazing.
That's one of my favorite cars.
Yeah, you got to experience. How cool is that?
Good.
Yeah, it looks great.
I love that thing. I love the exhaust note of that. It just screams.
Yeah, Ferrari exhaust notes are just unparalleled. And the thing is, like, as vehicles get to smaller and smaller engines, I mean, eventually probably going all electric, you lose. I mean, as a perfect example of that, Formula One, right? Formula One, when they went to 6-cylinder engines, you lost the scream of an F1 engine. So sad.
So sad.
And, you know, that's why driving the 812 was like, I'm living in the past, and I love it, because you had that full 12-cylinder exhaust note.
So apparently Josh lives in Beverly Hills and has a Demon.
Josh, we're going to meet up, man. And I will treat you to any meal you would like that I can afford. And I would love to do something with the Demon. Okay, so this is like the engine off. It's still so funny. You're driving a like really performance-oriented SUV, and with the start-stop system, it's so weird just having it completely shut off.
Did you see the new delivery of the Zonda R?
No.
There's a Zonda R that it's a guy I follow on Instagram.
Yeah.
And that thing is the greatest sounding car I've ever heard in my entire life.
Well, I mean,
I'll
you
show
got
you
an
the video.
AMG V12, Mercedes
Yeah.
sourced V12 in the Zondas. That's a car I would love to drive. I've never driven any Pagani, the Huayra, the Zonda, whatever. Never driven any Pagani or Koenigsegg. Like to drive either of those mega cars. There's something about the Paganis though. They're just like, if you ever watch interviews with Horatio Pagani, the founder, and he's just this effervescent Italian dude, and he's waxing poetic about how he builds his cars and the details in the cars, and I've seen Paganis in person, and you pick up on that. Everything that they touch, they just shut off.
No, it's spinning.
Oh, fun.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, if you ever double tap the middle button, and it should go back to the normal spot. Except if it's upright, then it won't do it. Okay, so we've just been cruising around in standard mode, and the ride has been amazing, and the cabin quietness is stellar. This is like,
Yeah, you can really switch from having it sound really good
Yeah.
to complete silence.
okay, someone else, now you're reminding me of things. Another question someone asked is, would you have the I'm not going to say your full name, the AE asked if I would rather have the DBX or this as a daily driver. And I'm still going to go with the DBX because it was just like the little stitching details, the exterior is beautiful, the interior is gorgeous. I'm still going to go with that as like a daily excitement kind of thing. But ride quality, this is right there with that Aston Martin.
There's a lot of questions being. Okay, we're back.
Okay, we're
Yeah.
back. Sorry about that, guys. Apparently, this is as far as I can go in that direction. Can't go any further than it'll come. So it was Viper or Corvette, and I would say Viper because my like dream car as a kid was like 2002 Dodge Viper GTS. I loved the curves of that vehicle. Speaking of curves. So stable. So stable in the corner.
So well.
Yeah, and the brake pedal, the bite is immediate. The 6-piston front brakes are so potent. Yeah, this is an awesome SUV. Yeah, so Viper or Corvette, it's going to be Viper for me. I so hope they bring that one back. I don't know what's going to happen with Stellantis now being the parent company for Dodge, and SRT in theory, you know, or at least in name going away. I don't know what's going to happen with that, but I really hope they bring back the Viper because it's always just been, it's been the looks and it's been the insanity of that car. That car was always about just like sheets to the wind. We don't care. Like you are in control, and if you're not in control, good luck.
Wow, Josh is balling apparently.
Josh, what?
He
Do you also have a Viper?
he said he's got a 2021 Demon, a 2021 Vet, and a 2020 Viper GTS.
Oh, dude.
And he's waiting for his Trackhawk.
That's the
If
you got
that's
the
true,
American dream garage
If
right there,
that's
Josh.
true, he's got the most American garage I've ever seen.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've never heard of that. That's amazing.
And he said he's thinking of getting a T-Rex. That would complete it, right?
Yeah,
there.
dude,
You get
the-
the truck.
Yeah, the truck. 'Cause the T-Rex is awesome. Yeah, no, I love the Viper. I really, really love the Viper. I hope one day I can buy a 2002 Viper GTS. Pretty sure, like, I think Doug DeMuro bought one. Doug DeMuro also owns my other dream car, which is a Ford GT.
So nice.
So Doug just, you know.
The
handed
older
him
one
over.
or the newer one?
The older one.
Yeah.
He
That's
bought
the
it from
one.
another friend of mine, Carl Brower. Carl has a demon. Carl has a demon.
There you
Interesting.
go.
Yeah.
Time to ask him.
Yeah, time to ask. Or Josh. We're gonna meet up.
Yeah.
Any other questions coming in?
Jacob Fowler wants to know if he drives to where we are, can he be featured on the stream?
Jacob, I don't know. It's a strange time with COVID. If we all masked up, I think we could probably make it work.
Guido asks, have you driven a Brabus?
I've not driven a Brabus, and a friend of mine said he might know a contact there. So I would like to make that happen. A Brabus to be featured on the channel. And also, there's a real quick plug for, I just made a new channel just with the MilesPerHr shorts videos. So if you like that content, those little 60-second blurbs about the cool features of the cars that I review each week, please go subscribe to that channel. It's just called MilesPerHr Shorts. So do that. If you just like the POVs and the live Q&As and stuff, then just stay with this channel.
Jacob Fowler asked, would you get a 992 or a 991 GT3? Oh, Carrera.
But Carrera GT3 or just a Carrera? Did he say GT3?
He said GT3, and then he said, like with an asterisk, 992 Carrera.
Okay. Oh, or would he get a 991 GT3 or 992 Carrera? Maybe is that what's being asked? I'm not sure. Okay. Well, here's the thing. So, like, I haven't driven the new GT3. I'm sure it's going to be amazing. In fact, the reason I think it's going to be better than the 991 is because they kept the 4-liter flat six. Sorry. And they kept the manual gearbox. So they've just improved aerodynamics and wow factor while keeping the great engine. So I'm sure the 992 GT3 is going to be amazing. And but driving the 991 and knowing how amazing that was, I would take either. But I'm going to say give me the 992 because you get some updates to the interior, but you still get the manual and you still get that great 4-liter flat six.
Okay, we're getting quite a few questions here. Okay, Range Rover Velar or this?
Oh, this, 100% this. The Velar is a beautiful SUV, so I guess it would have to be Velar SVR to get, I mean, but even that makes more power than this. It's a weird gray area. They don't have a Velar, like, light. They have a 380 horsepower Velar, and then they have the 550. So, I'm going to say this. The Velar is a beautiful SUV. I don't like the rear end quite as much on the Velar, but in terms of driving pleasure, this beats the Velar hands down every day. The tuning of electronic steering rack, the brake pedal feel, the soundtrack is there. Yeah, I'm gonna say this. But I want to leave something for the review, so don't ask too many more competitor questions because I'll try to refrain from answering those.
Okay. Will you test the Audi e-tron GT?
Yes, just did. So my walk around is up. I'll have a POV in the Malibu Canyons where it was dumping rain, absolutely dumping rain in that video. So those will be up. The walk around's up today. The POV will be up on Tuesday. The review for the Aston Martin DBX will be up Monday, so look forward to that. But yeah, it was only, honestly, I had 2 hours with the e-tron GT, so I didn't have time to do a review or anything, but I will get a full loan of that vehicle and do something like that shortly.
Paul asked, do you have any plans to review the Ferrari Roma?
Yes, I've been talking to them. Those cars are in short supply, so I'm not super high on the list to get one of those, but I'll see if I can make it happen. I'm still asking.
And then Josh asked, what year of the Viper is your dream car?
2002. 2002 Viper GTS, blue with white stripes.
I was gonna say blue.
Blue with white stripes. Yep, that's it. That's the car.
That's the classic.
Yeah, yeah. So if anyone wants to make a donation to the Help Miles Get His Dream Car Fund, then I would love that. All right. If there aren't any further questions, then we're probably gonna cap this one off. But thank you guys so much for joining, and ask any other questions away in the comments. You know, guys, I read those, so I will get back to you on that. And thanks, Brett, for manning the camera as usual.